us Mr. Anil Gachke, sir, who is the State Committee Chairman of MSME and Cooperative Banking MEDC. Presently, he is also the Chairman Industry of Maharashtra Economic Development Council, Mumbai, Vice President of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Mumbai. He is also the General Secretary of Electrical Contractors Association of Maharashtra, Mumbai, and he was also a member of Executive Committee, Media and Communication and Marketing Committee of CAPART, Rural Development Department, Government of India. Can we have a big round of applause for our moderator, Mr. Anil Gachke, sir? With him on the dais, we have our three eminent speakers. Let me introduce one by one. Mr. Mohan Tanksale, who's a former CEO of Indian Banks Association. He's a career banker having spent over 4 decades in the Indian banking industry. He retired as the chairman and managing director of Central Bank of India, one of the India's largest banks, in 2013. Mr. Tanksale is passionate about the role of technology and innovation in banking and is recognized as a change agent. He's keenly committed to leadership development and mentors business leaders in the field of banking and finance. Can we have a big round of applause for him? Our next speaker for today is going to be Mr. Shankar Jadhav, who is the Managing Director of BSE Investments, holding arm of Bombay Stock Exchange and head strategy at BSE. Various teams such as data center infra and IT procurement, marketing, legal, commercial and CSR report to him at BSE. Mr. Jadhav is a BTech from IIT Bombay and MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Mr. Shankar Jadhav has experience in setting up, managing and growing business operations and has been an advisor and mentor to startups and other companies. He has also been recognized for his work in finance, technology and cybersecurity. He has received many awards such as the Business Leader of the Year Award and the Pillar of BFSI sector. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Shankar Jadhav? Next up, we have with us Mr. Rajesh Saboo, Chief Concept and Partnerships, Cornerstone Auxiliary Services, an IT geek who has spent over 25 years running his venture. Rajesh ji got his first startup experience setting up a company providing IT and office automation solutions, which today, its clientele's credit has some of the biggest global names. Amongst his peers, he is known for his advice that he gives to brewing startups for free across long hours of consultative services over cups of tea that he enjoys sugar-free as the only fee. A true bred son of the soil, he runs an incubator venture fund that focuses on projects with a strong public social connection, especially in healthcare and education. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Rajesh Saboo? And I would now request our session moderator, Mr. Anil Gachke, to kindly take the session ahead.
Hello. Now our session is beginning almost about 45 minutes from the schedule. Sorry for all this delay and waiting for the new sessions. But however, you will find this session will be more interesting. Those who are beginning with the business or who are expanding the business, for them, finance is a critical and very crucial issue. So our three panelists who are going to speak about finances in different sectors, you will be definitely getting more information and knowledge from them. All the three panelists are excellent in their own field, and you will also get a lot of information, and particularly what are the new schemes that financial institutions are organizing and which will be helpful to MSME sector. I request Mohan Tanksale ji to speak about there and give you information.
I prefer that. Uh, I think I'm holding you between the finance and the lunch. so, I'll be very brief. As a banker, I have served for almost 40 years in the banking industry, and I can say that the MSME is uh, a loved one for the banking industry. And you will see that the exposure of the banking industry to the MSME sector is huge. Today, the total exposure of the banking industry as a credit is just 1,25,000 crores. That is the kind of exposure which we have on the various sectors. But out of that, almost 18% goes to the MSME sector. And MSME sector, as I said, right from the days when the priority sector concept was introduced, the bankers have been considering MSME as a separate sector to be supported, micro, small, medium industries. And I think every bank today has got strategies to really help out the MSME sectors. I was very happy listening to the way various initiatives have been taken by the Maharashtra government, various initiatives have been taken by the various federation, the cluster formation, very focused way of development. I wish today we had a representative from Bank of Maharashtra who are the state level bankers for the bank. And the state level bankers have a responsibility of an overall development of the state. Nevertheless, I would like to propose the MEDC, the Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, and the various representatives sitting here. Probably you can use the platform of State Level Bankers Committee as a platform to communicate all your requirements. Mr. The Director MSME, I think, what's his name? Parlevar. So, I think he was through and through for it, and he could be the right representative on your behalf to take the message to the State Level Bankers Committee. I'll get focused on the actionables rather than I had a presentation where I wanted to compliment the MSME sector for their contribution to the Indian economy. All is known to you, but I'll come to it a little later. But I want to give first actionable that the federations, the various associations who are representing the MSMEs and their members who are sitting here should leverage the platform of the State Level Bankers Committee. When you talk of the cluster and industry specific cluster, I think I will again suggest you that in each district there is one lead bank, and in each district that lead bank has a responsibility of the overall development of the district, be it Central Bank, be it Union Bank, be it Bank of Maharashtra, be it State Bank of India. I think all the districts of Maharashtra, there is one lead bank, Gachke Sahib, and that lead bank has a district level consultative committee where the district administration has a role to play, where your MIDC has a role to play. I mean, all these platforms, why I have thought after listening to the various deliberations that these should be properly leveraged by all of you to communicate, well, here are the opportunities. See, as regard bankers are there, let me tell you, lending is a dharma. If I don't lend, where do I go? What do I do? I have nothing else to do if I just collect the deposits. I can't service my stakeholders. I can't create a value for my shareholders. And thus, I think the lending is absolutely. And bankers are very happy to put the money in the diversified sector. And that's where the MSME comes into picture, that MSME credit. I don't think there is any dearth of credit. There could be a dearth or credit aversion for the large corporate lending. but I don't think there is a great aversion for the MSME sector. But if at all it is there, it could be a lack of, I would say, the information, the lack of preparedness of the MSMEs to project themselves. And there where I would like to say that the federations have a role to play. As IBA chief executive, I remember that we have requested Reserve Bank of India to come out with the guidelines to have a registered consultants for the MSME sector. Because typically the consultants are seen to be the intermediaries, but we had gone as a banker that we would appreciate if the MSMEs get represented by the MSME consultants so that MSMEs are able to present themselves properly. Let me tell you that it's not only creating just a structured project report to get the finance. The finance is just a beginning, but the report should be such whereby the MSMEs are able to follow what they had envisaged as a business model and a business opportunity. Unfortunately, whenever banking comes into picture, the NPAs get talked of, the stressed assets get talked of. Good, but it should be spoken from the perspective of learning. And again, the federations have a role to play, that get into causative analysis. What exactly has gone wrong? See, the accounts get stressed not only because of the internal problems, they are because of the external problems also. See, none of the industry can run only if the credit is available. Along with the credit, you need the proper place, you need the land acquisition, you need the power, you need the environmental clearances, you need the skilled labor and all that. So I think it's a very comprehensive way of driving the MSME business, and it has got a bigger importance now, because I am sure all of you must be very, very happy when the definition of the MSME got enlarged. I am sure all of you are fully aware that the MSME definition has been changed from 2020. Now the MSME encompasses on the micro, any lending up to 1 crore, any investment in the machinery up to 1 crore, and turnover up to 5 crore. I think getting this sector a definition of a micro and getting a preferred attention is one of the very good things which has happened over the period. Initially, this language was 25 lakhs and there was no consideration to the turnovers. Now there is a consideration to the turnover. You switch over from one level to the other level with a change in turnover. The manufacturing and services sector have been clubbed together. It is not individual. I heard somebody on the technology side providing B2B services and all. I think all entire services sector can come into the definition of the MSMEs. The micro sector, the small sector. Now small sector is up to investment in plant and machinery up to 10 crores and turnover of 50 crores. And initially it was just 5 crore. And I think if from 5 crore to 10 crore you have gone, again large number of industries have gone into the small definition. And all of you know that for small, micro, there are n number of subsidies, n number of insurance which is available from the SIDBI, and where the various schemes of the government of India, where the the assured insurance coverage is there. And whenever insurance coverage is there, the biggest worry of the small entrepreneur is the collateral. And these are all collateral free. Up to 2 crores, you get the money collateral free. I don't think any banker will ever ask for it. So you should really avail this opportunity. On the medium, the definition has gone to any investments up to 50 crore are medium. The turnover up to 250 crore is a medium. I think this enhanced definition itself improves the coverage of the MSME sector. And thus, I think anybody looking for expansion should not hesitate. You will not become the large, or you will still remain the small and medium-sized industry. So look for the enhancements wherever possible. And I think that is one of the big thing which has happened over the period of time. Well, on the various schemes, I think I will like to make a particular mention here that today everybody is talking about the supply chain. Means what? There is a big corporate, there are suppliers to that corporate, and there are the buyers of the big corporates. And these are all individually the industries. And thus, again, effort should be made that all the large corporate, they source their materials. Auto, I think I heard Karandikar, if I'm not wrong. So, auto hub, Pune is auto hub. I think the best thing to happen is that all the auto parts are provided by the MSME sector. Likewise, n number of industries can be identified, and under the supply chain, you can get all kind of financing. Banker will be extremely happy if you are coming as a supplier to Tatas or Mahindras or, because these are all where you have an assurance that the payments will come forth. There was a reference to trades also. Let me tell you, the platform like trades are still underutilized. The trades platform is where an approved invoice is being placed for lenders to come forward and lend. And I don't think that it ever happened that the invoices did not get purchased, did not get discounted or funded. But the utilization of the trades platform, there are 3 to 4 trades platforms which are operational in the industry. I think when I look at the numbers, it is still not adequate. It means either the information is not there, or the registration for the companies who should be eligible is not there. Again, let me tell you, I think there was a reference to the lack of information and lack of knowledge. I think that is what needs to be leveraged going forward. I think there are 2 more speakers, so I should stop it here. I can only say that banking industry will always welcome the financing to the MSME sector. And there is not only the banker, I should not talk only about the banker. You have got the NBFCs today, you have got the digital lending, the recent guidelines have come. A lot of regulator is taking care of the fact that the borrowers are not exploited and they are not given the wrong treatment by the lenders. And thus I feel that one should not feel that there are no lenders available, but yes, you should prepare yourself to be a lendable entity, and for which I appeal all the representatives of the Federation, make your members the lendable entities. Thank you very much and all the very best.
Thank you, Mohan Tanksale ji. Audience is definitely gained a lot of things from you. Particularly, the MSME sector has 2 things in always pinch them. One is not getting the payment from corporates and government sector in proper time. Though there is a limitation of 90 days within which the employer should make the payment to MSME sector, but it doesn't happen. And second is from bankers, collateral security. That's a very touchy subject for MSME sector, and you have already touched that subject and satisfied the normal queries of the audience. In fact, with the vast experience of Mohan Tanksale ji, as a CMD of Central Bank of India, Indian Banks Association, and now he is also a banker with director with the Saraswat Bank. So automatically, with his rich experience, anybody who needs any information or any guidance or any kind of help, you can always approach Mohan Tanksale ji anytime through MEDC, and we will be helpful.
Yes, I don't do the individual consultancy.
So it will be useful, his experience will be useful to all the audience. I appeal him that he should give his versatile experience as well as pinpointing the needs of the audience in the sense MSME sector. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Shankar Jadhav. Shankar Jadhav is basically an electrical engineer. So he and me fall in the same category. And he is going to speak about the new trends and other avenues of raising the capital through share market, as well as there are so many Bombay Stock Exchange. What is new trends which are being offered for MSME sector? I give my mic to Shankar Jadhav.
Namaskar Mandali. I am aware that not all of you speak or understand Marathi, so I'll have to speak in English. Otherwise, I preferred to speak in Marathi in an MEDC program. Mr. Mohan Tanksale has given a very good overview of the banking system and how it helps the MSMEs. He's correct that Trades platform is not used by many MSMEs. But let me just give you a brief picture about what's happening about MSMEs in India. I do not know whether everyone is aware that Indian SMEs, especially the listed space of SMEs, is considered to be a landmark thing for the whole world, because they've not been able to get SMEs to list on an exchange and become formalized all across the world. So they learn from us. So BSE is one of the largest market share in SME listing. There are around 385 companies that got listed, and out of which around 149 have gone to the main board already. That data is available to everyone to see on the website. But let me come back to you with one thing. As I told you, I want to give you a picture. We have around thousands of events every year where we meet the MSMEs ourselves, either for listing or for the other funding requirements. And we found that banks, though Mr. Tanksale will differ a little bit, they would always look at collaterals. They want to ensure that the money comes back, because banks are intermediaries. When you put your deposits with the banks give you guarantee that the money will come back to you, and hence they want to take lesser risks. So the government has schemes, but it is difficult for the government also to push. And maybe the government banks are normally doing the job, but I don't think private sector banks do. Also, to give you a brief background, the total amount of money given by banking sector or lent by banking sector has come down over a period of time. And today the market capitalization of a stock exchange like Bombay Stock Exchange is much, much larger than the amount that is lent by banks today. But banks actually gave the base. So what is the problem with MSMEs? MSMEs wants funds. They've already the promoters have already put their own funds, their family funds, their friends' funds. In fact, they've also borrowed where possible informally, and also have gone to the banks. And they require funds for growth, because in the initial stage, the MSMEs do require a huge amount of funds. However, there is a problem. For any number of reasons, more than 90% of small companies are going to fail. It's like everyone knows that we are going to die, right? So corporates also are born and they die. And when do they die? The infant mortality is very high. So when companies are very, very small and they are not yet grown to a particular size, they are likely to be, people are going to look at them suspiciously. So what is the best way to get funding for such ventures? If a promoter group or a promoter has already achieved a certain scale in business, he has certain vendors and certain customers, instead of borrowing money from their friends and also taking money from the vendors, etc., or the customers, sponsoring the customers, why can't they just list with us? Today, BSE listing for SME sector, you just require very few investors. The investment size is 1 lakh rupees per lot and trading also. But the people who will trust you as vendors or customers would like to invest in your money. I can give you one indicator. In December 2012, we started with the SME sector index at 100. Today, it is 12,800 or 12,900. So it's a growth of 128 times if you are just invested in SME index. That shows you that the companies that have grown, they have grown much better. It's a very simple probability thing. When you are an infant, you are likely to die. But if you grow up to 5 years of age, you are likely to survive. The probability of survival is very high. So companies which come to list, they are already those out of those 5%, they are the bigger companies, the better companies, the promoter really puts their hearts and venture out. If you have the power, come to the BSE, get listed. Many people are scared of getting listed. You know, they think that someone will take away their customers or someone will take control of their company. It is nothing like that. You have to give only 25% of your shares. Those shares are not with one party. There are multiple shareholders. You have to have minimum 50 shareholders. So no one party will have more than 1% or 2%, 3%, whatever shares that you have, and they will not take over your company. But the advantages are many. Once you have a listed company, your valuation is there. So when you go to a bank and say, I am a listed company, this is the share price that I am getting, the valuation is already there. So banks can't say this valuation is wrong. Second, as a listed company, you are available on our websites. You are available everywhere. People will search for you, find out whether it's useful or not. Most Infosys at one time, for instance, was a small company. Or any other company that is listed today. When they got listed, they were very small. And slowly they grew. Same way, the chances of a listed SME is very high. But we are talking of only listed SME. Let's talk about even startups. As you must be aware, there's a startup platform. And we've got a good market share there also. Around 14 companies have listed there. And they require a very small amount. But BSE does help them. They are listed. And these startups provide a higher number of jobs than what we see in the traditional sector. Because nowadays people use knowledge workers, not necessarily manual workers. And even in cities like Bombay, Pune, Nashik, Delhi, whatever, we talk about cities, most of the efforts are based on services sector. In fact, the whole SME, there's services sector. So when Mr. Tanksale talks about the investments in either machinery or land, it's really not so high. In fact, nowadays, very asset-light companies are there, world over. I don't know how many of you know that the e-commerce companies don't really have so much assets in physical form. So RBI, along with other partners, have also started online digital commerce, and ONDC will come up very soon. So those people who want to use the web marketing or e-commerce ventures can do it almost free. We are also partner there. Exchange provides a venue for people to come in and go out, buy things and sell things. We have also urged the state government. I mean, here I will make the request. What the state governments can do, they can provide a small fund which can be kept in a rotating fund. They invest in the SME. That SME will get credit enhancement. And if it does well, the government can sell their shares and come out. So the money is not going to be used. And when they sell and get the shares out, the same fund can be used for promoting other companies. In fact, it is said that some other states have got more vision or inclination towards doing business, and we Maharashtrians only talk about having a job or being a secured life. It is not so. It is the states or the environment there is such that they get incentivized to do business. In fact, it is said world over that most of the entrepreneurs who succeed are those guys who did not have any backup. Like the famous case of someone who is uneducated and becomes very successful. He will still try to teach his children, put them to school and college because he knows the value of education. I think SMEs in India do not learn as much as they should learn. They have to go out, learn what are the, like I keep on getting people who have done well. You know, they have increased got their company to a certain level. But they do not want to go and meet the venture capitalists. They don't want to go and meet the private equity analysts. They do not want to go and meet the exchange people or merchant bankers. Everything they want to be in their control. In fact, as someone mentioned, I think Rajesh mentioned in the morning, that the patents, you know, India is very slow at patents for applications, but we are also slow in getting people to value those patents. We have around 800 people only, as compared to say 13,000 in China and 25,000 in US. And the time between application for a patent and getting a patent is very, very high in India. This has to come down because most of the Indians normally do get up with some IPR and they would like to have a patent. This also the government should support. In fact, lots of people give discounts when they file the patents, etc. The cost of patenting is very high. These few things, besides why SMEs fail or what should we do when you don't want to fail, I think people have to realize that if something is going to die, they have to get out. Most of the bigger companies or bigger SMEs, they survive because the smaller companies die. It's a natural process. You can't do anything. If 100 ventures are started, 90 ventures are going to die. And you should be able to learn when they die, let them die. The remaining 10, some 6, 7 will be middling, they will just make enough profits to survive. And there will be 3, 4 out of 100, which will grow to a large extent. Like I'll give you an example. People have understood why SME listing is better. Just a couple of days back, we've got an SME share that was listed, which was oversubscribed by 400 times. It's very difficult, right? People do not, why are they looking at it? Because the multi-baggers will come from there. But that's for you to decide. You invest. In fact, in SME sector in India, the listing part, the market making is there. What is the meaning of market making? Is that when you go to sell a share, even if it's a small company earlier, it was very difficult to sell because there was not enough shares available to buy or sell. But the government has mandated, SEBI has mandated, it's a good rule, there is a compulsory market making. Means for 75% of time, if you want to buy or sell, it is available on the exchange. And then you are very sure that if I invest in my friend's company, instead of giving a loan of 10 lakh, suppose I invest in 10 lakh rupees in his company. And if I feel that the company's price is not going very well or it's doing bad or I want some emergency funds, I can go and sell. There is no stoppage of your funds. It's not blocked. These are some of the things why I'm highlighting is many of the people who are here, especially the Maharashtra entrepreneurs, they are not coming forward and taking these funds. Remember, these funds, you have to sell yourself. There is no collateral involved, but capital market, though lots of people feel that debt is cheaper than capital market, no. When you sell your equity and if you're going to be successful, getting capital as equity as capital is a costly affair. Of course, it's simple if you're going to lose or if your company is going to die, then it's easier to give shares than let it die. So please bear that in mind. And there are many more avenues for funding other than the exchange. Since I have come here as a representative of exchange, I do not want to talk about it, but there are lots of angel investors, Series A and B investors and all, and they do keep a lookout on whatever is not listed, can we fund them? So many people who come to us, those who are not listed, they go and talk to this venture capitalists, etc., and they get good valuation some of the times. If their project is good, if their marketing is good, if their business model is good, they will look at it. I also have to ask you as entrepreneurs to look at one thing, which many people don't do, but Mr. Tanksale also mentioned it briefly. Your SME or your company should have net worth, not only business. Lots of people do not have any net worth. So it's like a trading company or it's a company which does not have assets. How will anyone trust a company where you don't have assets? I have seen entrepreneurs who have their own office in their own personal name and then give it on lease to the company. How will the company survive? You have to trust your company. So the companies that survive normally will have their own assets in their own name wherever it's possible. So please try and build your network. Thank you.
Sorry for interruption. Shankar Jadhav just finished his and then it started siren working on his speech. But definitely, siren should sound in your mind by what option Shankar Jadhav has given in raising your new finance. I think in MSME sector, hardly few, not even 1% or 2% people must have taken this option of going through share market. And this option, everyone should definitely think very critically and carefully, so that whatever the plus and minus points are there, which Shankar Jadhav has already mentioned, you assess yourself. In case you have any queries and in case you have any doubts, you send your letter to MEDC. We will forward it to Shankar Jadhav and he will reply you either directly or through MEDC. I think our need of questions and queries mostly are satisfied from Shankar Jadhav's speech. Very few must be feeling some different queries, and you send it to us. Now, I thank Mr. Shankar Jadhav for giving a lucid and very clear speech. Our next speaker is going to be Shri Saboo. He is also giving a different idea of raising the funds and partnerships and all that kind of a thing. I request Mr. Saboo to carry on his speech.
Thank you, sir. Mohan sir and Shankar sir has touched upon a lot of aspects of how the investment should bring into the MSME sector. Prior to that, the people spoke about the policies and opportunities, global opportunities and all. So in nutshell, if we see the tragedy, just like our session is just before lunch, okay? So the people will think these people have made it late. It's not. Similarly, finance never hinder into your investment as a MSME. You have to understand few components. Who are the stakeholders? The stakeholder is government, who is calibrating some policies, good initiatives and all those things. They are financial institute. There is no dearth of, as Mohan sir said, no dearth of finance is available. There is a lot of finance available, new avenue just now, Shankar sir has mentioned. So finance is available. There is a MSME sector who needs finance, who want to grow, who want to develop. About 6.6 crores of MSMEs are there in India. You will be surprised with a new definition of 1 CR as an investment and 5 CR as a turnover. You will be surprised, those are 6.4 crores. Not 6.4, it's in fact 6.56 crores. Only 33 lakh MSMEs fall into the second category as a small, and only 5,000 are beyond that, beyond 50 crores turnover. And when we talked about access to capital, knowledge, policy framework, these top two, I will say not top two in fact, and which will, Shankar sir has already mentioned that the people don't know there is a exchange available for these people. So the people who are there, 5,000 people might be aware of that. 33 lakh people who are there falls into small category, has a excess. The rest of the people are who? They are only chalak malak. They do everything themselves. And when we put some policies, how they will interpret those? If we have some policies from the bank facilitators, financial facilitators like bank or venture capital, or it's a big name, the people are coming. I myself is a venture capital, do a small investment in those ideas and all. But how the people will approach people like us? Those people are day in, day out getting into manufacturing or services, what they are providing. They are doing their finances. They will get hold of the employees, employee get trained, he moves to some other companies. So we talked everything is which is available. Finance is a secondary part. The first part is lack of information, as everybody mentioned over here. Everybody has every trade chambers, all big people talking over here, but how the information is flowing to them, what they want to understand. It's not about information is there. Information is there, but they probably not understand. They need some experts. Just like sir said, there has to be some MSME consultants who will understand. But how many people know they can go to consultant? You might be a lot of MSMEs. I myself is MSME also. So we get a phone call from the government. Financials are available. A lot of phone calls are coming. These many finances has been done. Now you go, enroll, register. Who will understand that? Where to go, how to do it, whether they will have a time, they will consider me, because those people who need finance have done n number of visits to n number of places. I have happened to be talking to some of my banker friend. What they say is there are three issues. One is a CIBIL rating. People won't finance if you have a poor CIBIL rating. Second, they don't have adequate capital themselves to put as a basic money, because government has a credit guarantee scheme. Banks are aware of that. So there is no credit guarantee is the issue, but they may not have a 25% of their shares put into those. Many of them are lacking in that. The third is the knowledge background. So if I am IT guy and I will start some agri-based some activity, how the bank will finance me? I should go into my own domain. So the issue is government policies are there, bank is willingness, and what these people, like we all of us, MSME should do. The first thing, if you want a finance, you have to have a financial discipline. That has to be there. Just like sir said, if you don't put your own money, you don't have your own net worth, how somebody will trust your business? You have to ensure that. And third, like you should not die in the early stage. As Shankar sir said, you should have that confidence, that knowledge building up of your own, so that you can go. There are a lot of trade associations, there are a lot of government programs available. How to access those information, how that can be simplified. Fortunate enough, we have just started, and our first, as a public audience and networking, Cornerstone auxiliary services. So since as an individual investor, I just understand these problems. And we have put all these problems over in one platform trying to do that. So the information is available in the way you want to know. That is very key. And all bankers have all programs, just like Mohan sir said, there is a state level banking. Even I am not aware of that. State level banking committee, there is a lead bank who take care of that. There is MEDC, Sir Ranga sir was speaking, he was talking about a lot of programs over there, cluster programs over there.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, sir.
I forgot to. I'm audible? Yeah. I forgot to make a mention. See, today there is a digital lending platform available called PSB 59 minutes. It means that you put your application and in 59 minutes you will get in principle approval. This platform, more than 100 lenders, bankers, NBFCs, they are all connected. You can choose your own lender to whom the application should go. It goes to the 3 lenders. The application gets processed on the way for your KYC, for your credit bureau checks and everything. And you are expected to get the in-principle approval 59 minutes. Try it. The bank which comes forward with that, go to them. And I think all of us have got only one suggestion to make, that make your own project a lendable project, a sustainable project, a scalable project. Kindly keep these words in mind. And if you are in the position to convince any lender that your project is a sustainable project, is a scalable project, I am sure they'll come forward. Thank you.
So, hello. So another thing is coming. That's the thing. There's lot of information available. So in nutshell, to conclude, one thing is one should MSME, the micro sector is just like the old days, the picture called Trishul. Vijay goes and he says, "मेरे पास में 5 फुटी कौड़ी भी नहीं है." and he will run a whole empire. It's not that. It's a movie. It's not done in practical. You should have trust your own business. You should have, for that, you have to show the credibility to the lenders, because anybody who will lend will ask for returns, whether you go to equity as a share or debt as a lending. So the thing is that MSME should, in my opinion, should take whatever experience of 25 years I have in the different sectors. So there are three things which is very important: access to information, access to knowledge, and third, which is finance you need, will follow automatically if you have these two. So that's all I wanted to just say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Sabooji. You must have understood from his speech, besides common banking and besides share market route, which are the other routes you should avail to get your capital, and what are the lacunae or what are the hurdles therein which you should overcome. Thank you, Sabooji. I think for every speaker, whatever queries you may be having, you send it to MSME, MEDC, and our time is already, we are lagging behind by 1 hour. So, and everybody must be very hungry to go for lunch. So, we will stop this session here only, and next instructions.
Okay, I would request everybody to be seated. We will quickly felicitate all our speakers at the hands of our moderator. And can we have a big round of applause for our moderator and our eminent speakers for this session? I would now request Mr. Anil Gachke, sir, to felicitate Mr. Mohan Tanksale, former CEO, Indian Banks Association. I would now request him to felicitate Mr. Shankar Jadhav, MD BSc Investments Limited and Head Strategy BSc. I would request him to felicitate Mr. Rajesh Saboo, Chief Concept and Partnerships, Cornerstone Auxiliary Services. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in, and thank you so much to our moderator and our speakers.